Now, every time we come to Ogmore Castle, I'm always reminded that God is not just the God of the now, but He is the God of history. He is the God that never changes. So last week we left Joseph in prison. Can you remember that cupbearer forgot to tell Pharaoh what Joseph had done for him? Well, 2 years have now passed and Joseph is still in prison. Now one night, Pharaoh went to bed and he had a dream. He dreamt that he was standing, not by the river Ogmore, he dreamt that he was standing by the river Nile, when all of a sudden, 7 really fat, healthy cows came out of the river. And then after that, 7 more cows came out. But this time, the 7 cows were really thin and ugly. You could see all their bones. And then the most amazing thing happened. The 7 thin cows ate up the 7 fat cows. That's right, the bony cows ate up the really healthy cows. And then Pharaoh woke up. But then he went straight back to sleep again. And he had another dream. This time, he dreamt that he saw heads of grain growing on a stalk. There were 7 of them. 7 really healthy heads of grain growing on this one stalk. But then he saw 7 more heads grow. But this time, they were really scrawny. They'd been scorched by the sun. But then, the scrawny heads of grain ate up the really healthy heads of grain. Pharaoh woke up. He didn't know what the dreams meant, and it really, really bothered him. So he called all his clever men, all his advisors, and asked them what the dreams meant. But no one could be found who could tell Pharaoh what they meant. And then all of a sudden, the cupbearer remembered Joseph. He went to the Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, there's something I've forgotten. When I was in prison, there was a Hebrew slave there. Both me and the baker had dreams, and he was able to tell us the meanings of our dreams, and they came true. So straight away, Pharaoh sent for Joseph. Now, before Joseph was allowed to see the Pharaoh, he had to have a wash and a shave, and they put some new clothes on him as well. And then he was taken in to see Pharaoh. Pharaoh said, I believe you're the man who's able to give the meanings of dreams. And Joseph said, no, I'm not. I'm not able to do it. But God will be able to give you the meanings of your dreams, Pharaoh. So Pharaoh told Joseph his dreams. He told him about the 7 fat cows that came out of the Nile, and then the 7 scrawny cows that came out of the Nile, and how the scrawny cows had eaten up the fat cows. He then told him about the 7 heads of grain growing on one stalk that looked really healthy. But then there were 7 heads of grain that looked really scrawny and unhealthy. But they ate up, swallowed up the healthy heads of grain. Now, after he had told Joseph his dreams, this is what Joseph said. The dreams are basically the same, but God has told you them twice because it's definitely going to happen. So Pharaoh, said Joseph, this is what your dream means. The 7 fat cows and the 7 good heads of grain mean the same thing. They mean that Egypt is going to have 7 years of plenty. So much food, so much to eat. You're going to have so much. But then, after that, is going to come another 7 years. Now this is where the thin cows come in and the scrawny heads of grain come in. Because what they stand for is 7 years of famine. There's going to come 7 years where there's going to be nothing in Egypt to eat. Nothing's going to grow. So what you need to do is this. During the 7 good years, you need to store up some of your grain, some of your food. You need to put it in safe places so that when the 7 bad years come, Egypt will still have plenty to eat. Then Joseph said, you need to choose someone who is really wise, somebody who is clever and knows what they're doing. Put them in charge. So, Pharaoh had a chat with his wise men and his advisors, and they decided that they knew exactly the man for the job. Joseph! They said to Joseph, there is no one in all our kingdom who is as wise as you, because God's Spirit is with you. So Joseph got the job. He was put in charge. In fact, Pharaoh promoted him so much that he became the Prime Minister of Egypt. The only person who was more important in the whole of Egypt was Pharaoh himself. Pharaoh gave him a lovely ring. He gave him a lovely robe to wear. He even gave him a chariot. He even gave him a wife to have. And Joseph was put into this really important position because God was with Joseph and God was in control. So we have learned 2 really important lessons today. One lesson from Joseph and one lesson about God. Joseph was really humble. Did you notice that? When Pharaoh called Joseph to come and interpret his dream, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I believe you're the person I've heard about who can interpret dreams. Now Joseph could have said, yep, that's me, I'm that person. I'm really good at interpreting dreams. I've got a really good record. But he didn't. Instead, he said, no, I can't interpret dreams for you, but God can. He didn't want to take the glory for himself. Instead, he wanted to tell Pharaoh how good God was and how wonderful God was. I wonder, are you a humble person? Do you give God the glory that he deserves? And then the second lesson that we learn from today is we learn a lot about God. God is not just the God of history. He is not just the God of the here and now, the present, but he's also the God of the future. God knows the future. You see, today, God gave Pharaoh a little glimpse of what was going to happen in the future. And he was able to help Joseph to tell Pharaoh what that meant. But God knows all the future. The future belongs to God. He is in control of it because he is planning it out. You see, in our country at the moment, everybody's a little bit concerned about this virus that's going around. A year ago, nobody ever really knew about this virus, but God did. In 2019, God knew what was going to happen in 2020. And as we look to the future, a lot of people are worried. But God is in control. The future is in God's hands because He is in charge. He knows what's going to happen in 2021. So, who are you trusting? Joseph was trusting in the God of the future. Are you trusting in the God who's in charge of the future? Or are you still trusting in yourself? Guys, it's been great talking to you again. We've been here today at Ogmore Castle. We believe in a God who is unchanging, who is ever the same, whether it's the past, the present, or the future. What a wonderful God we worship. I look forward to talking to you again. Bye for now.